Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SpeedForce Racing. My name is JB, and I'm getting abused in the SFR chat, as always, because I'm late. But hardy heart, yes. So, tonight we are here in France for the pre-season test, for the final pre-season test at Paul Ricard, and we're going to see what the GP3 division, oh, I know numbers, can do tonight. But I'm not alone. As always, I'm joined by the mysterious Norwegian who bounds about the fjords, running by different names. Either it's Tom, or it's Hal, or it's, oh my god, he's crashed into a tree, quickly save him. It is Hal. How are you doing, mate?
Well, thanks for that introduction. Well, I'm fine, ready for some action. How are you?
I am incredibly tired. I was
No,
asleep
nothing
earlier.
strange then.
I was asleep. I was sleepy. No one cares about me. I was sleeping. But yes, we're back, and for the final time, it's Tom, says VSR Josh. Yes, it is. But for the final time, this is the preseason test before we get to race day, which is in 2 weeks' time on Tuesday, the insert date here. I think it's the 15th, isn't it?
I'll have a look.
All right. So we have got one as we go into qualifying. So qualifying, we only have 10 here tonight for some unknown reason. We know that Luke Beck couldn't make it tonight. We also have, I believe, a new driver. We have Ryan Van Doom, which I really just want to make a joke that he is Victor Von Doom from the Fantastic Four. Got a problem with that? I don't care. But yes, it is going to be nice and fun to see what these guys can do in the last GP3 division race. Remember, this is only a 25% race, and then come the start of the season, it will be back up to 50% races. And yeah, I think it's going to be nice and fun, isn't it, Hal?
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Good for them to get some laps into the car and get ready for the new season that's coming up.
So yes, we have all the drivers are actually driving in their own teams now. So I think that we confirmed this last week, but if we didn't, then I'll remind everyone. The cars they are driving now are the cars they will be driving in Australia, and these are the cars they will be sticking with for the rest of the season, barring any events that is unforeseen. But we do not have a transfer window in SFR. We never have. We never will. The only reason some people have changed around was for other reasons, particularly me arguing with people repeatedly. Nobody likes me.
Well, your words. I'm just kidding.
So, looking at Primeval Rex. Now, Primeval Rex, who joins us on commentary quite regularly, he is, beyond a doubt, a driver who can excel in this series, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be one of the top runners in this division for sure. And it's going to be fun to see who's going to claim the most victories and also claim the GP3 title for this season.
Well, he said to me, and I quote, he said, all I'm looking for is a podium. All he wants is a podium in GP3. And I reckon he can go one better and potentially get a win somewhere in this season. And I have great faith in all of the GP3 drivers, and the fact that you and me, we've raced pretty much every one of these drivers in other leagues as well as SFR, haven't we?
Yeah, I think I've had
Barring the
some...
new guys, obviously.
Yeah, I think I've had some races against pretty much all of the drivers on the grid, and yeah, for what I can see, they're all great racers, and hopefully it will be a great year for these guys.
Just noticed Ryan Von Doom deciding to cut the pit exit line, or obviously reminded drivers that they do not do that whatsoever. You don't want to cut that line. You can incur a penalty, but it's also unsafe to do that, even if you're on your own.
Yeah, for sure.
So Primeval Rex is coming through onto the Mystery Straight for the first time. This straight, arguably though, how would you prefer it with or without the chicane?
Then? I've never driven it without the chicane, so I'm gonna stick to it with, for now at least.
Well, without it, it's just a slipstream fest going up towards the right-hander.
Yeah, that's true, and then you probably would have to brake for the right-hander as well.
But then again, it would have been more fun, wouldn't it? It's like the argument that should Lamore have that chicane in the middle of the straight, but they do, so we can't argue it. It's Paul Ricard. This is by far one of my favourite circuits on the game, Hal. I don't know how you feel about this, but didn't you win here last in GP2?
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
great race around this track, and well, luckily I ended up at the top of the podium after some penalties and yeah, some last lap adjustments.
All right, so Pro Eagle Rex starts us out with a 1:31.4, and Collins is our next driver round. Collins, who I've had a very strong relationship with as he comes around to cross the line, is Alfa Romeo. Crossing the line, he goes second at 1:32.4. There's a definite the thing with this track, you can easily mess it up in any corner of this track, can't you?
Yeah, for sure. And if you get a bit wrong in that corner cut, then you're done for the lap.
Big slide for the rear of Pro Oliver as he's coming around to try and get it all linked in. This final sector just goes on forever. It's such a long sector. I prefer it to be a little bit shorter, but you just cannot get it hooked up. Running a little bit on the curb, Oliver's fine though. DRS opening on his Red Bull, coming down across the line. That is fourth, 1:33.6. Oh,
And I've
look,
just
someone stole my 13.
Oh, well, good you're not racing in this division, huh?
It looks good on the McLaren. It does look good on the McLaren, to be honest, doesn't it? Look.
Is it on Oima?
Yeah, I know him.
Oh yeah, yeah. It looks good on McLaren.
On the front it does, yeah. I think the white on the back's a little bit...
I think I've just looked at Oima's time in the first lap, but he invalidated it, but it was just 3/10 behind Pro Oliver, and that's a big improvement from the last time we
it
saw
won't
him.
be now! That big slide there. You gotta... The thing with this track, yeah, it is a big improvement from last time out in, oh Christ, where were we? Austria.
Spain? Oh yeah. Austria.
Yeah, we were Austria last time. Oh, that's a big incident. He's in the wall, and that is... Oima's qualifying over. Is it? Or is he still going? That is a surprise. He's still going.
And that's lucky.
That McLaren is pure British engineering right there. Because we thought that was gone. Actually, to be fair, if it was properly British, it probably should have been gone.
And he's letting by some players, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll switch off him and get have a look at Psychovich. People going for split strategies now in this division, which is going to be nice and fun to see how the race goes on. Though there's only 10 players, these are the 10 players that have consistently turned up, barring Ryan, who's only just joined. But these guys have consistently turned up to every pre-season test, which is brilliant to see, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great to see that people are showing commitment, even though these races doesn't really matter that much. It's no points giving out, and it's great to see them enjoying racing and really just getting to know the league and the racers they are joining. So yeah, that's brilliant.
The thing, you've got to ingratiate yourself well. Personally, I have joined a different league on Gran Turismo Sport, and I joined it, and they have a Facebook group that they run in, and everyone there is so welcoming and so friendly. Obviously, I've not been there during a race day, so I don't know what it's going to be like if someone crashes. But it's often the case you want to always have a friendly league, a friendly division of the league. And I think that's brilliant. I mean, GP3 already have established themselves as firm friends, even coming forth to set up their own little races without us, without us having it. So yeah, they didn't want me streaming it. No, I was off doing something else at that time.
Yeah, it's great that they set up stuff like that on their own, and it shows that they are becoming a group and therefore might enjoy racing together more. So that's great.
Always what you want to hear in a division, and especially in SFR, because we're all good, firm friends here in SFR. So running down into T3-4 numbers, here is Alison Senegal in the Renault, trying to get all sorted. Again, this curb, you want to stay away from the curbs around the first and last sector. The middle sector, it hasn't really got any that you can run on that will affect you, and Alison found that out as he was coming through. But it really is a tough track to master, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's a track that it's really fun to drive when you got it sorted, and it's really not good when you just don't get the grips with it, because some of the braking points are hard to find out, and somewhere you can't be that early on the track or on the gas pedal. So yeah, it's a hard track but fun track when you get it to work.
I do like it, and they've actually moved, I think, the pit entry for the 2019 season. As they think, oh, that's dangerous. What about the pit exit? It comes out on the racing line.
And pit exit here is really something they should work on if they want to keep their place in Formula One.
Well, they're going to be here much longer. Alison Senegal popping in a lap, a 1:31.6. The French Grand Prix is going to be here to stay. Quoting. Racing Podge in his Ferrari coming around the final couple of corners. ERS deployment is quite a hefty thing. You see, he's actually out of ERS as he's coming across the line now, and that's a 1:31.0. So that puts him straight to the top by 4/10 ahead of Primeval Rex. Oymer's back in the pit lane from potentially another mistake. But that's the thing. We're not going to put too much pressure on these drivers saying they have to finish. 15 drivers have to finish every race. I mean, we'd like to, but there are going to be incidents because these guys are either, one, inexperienced with driving this game, and two, a little bit inexperienced in league racing in general. And we just want them all to have a safe place to race and to improve on their times, isn't it, Hal?
Yeah, we want them all to use this league as experience, and from here move over to maybe GP2 or better leagues. So yeah, it's a starting place for sure.
Definitely like to see all of that, and obviously the drivers will always be protected if anything is to be happened socially. If there was, say, an argument with someone, we'll always try and find out the root cause of that argument, and we'll sort it out in general. So drivers may not fear if they have a different opinion to anyone else.
Yeah.
Alright, so what have we got here? Google Service alerts as my phone buzzes. That's just down to them telling me everything that's happening. So 7 minutes after qualifying, this lap, they're all out bolting back onto the ultra soft tyres, and we're looking at a Rex now who's just coming through. I think he's to set his lap to start his lap. Sorry. But with this league, obviously, if you win, you're not obligated. Same as GP2, you're not obligated to go up into the Premier Division or into GP2. You're not obligated. There is no rule of that. If you think you're fast enough, yeah, we'll try and get you in. If you're not fast enough and you don't think you're fast enough, you can stay here. That's the truth, isn't it? The harsh reality of it, isn't it, Hal?
Yeah, it's the way that it should be, because if you dominate one division, you probably should look yourself in the mirror and say that you need some bigger challenges, and we can provide that. We can provide close racing, and we want close racing for the victories. And if we got someone dominating the division, then the right place is probably one division up.
Speaking of dominating, look at what Primeval Rex has just done. He's gone half a second quicker than Racing Podge, and that's just a fantastic time from him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great time. Looking to outclass his opponents at the moment, so it's going to be exciting to see how we do in the race with that pace.
See, Racing Podge, an old name in SFR. He's been here almost as long as I have, and maybe even longer. He's a kind, gentle Swedish soul, but he's also Slavic, so he will knock you out like Hal does to me repeatedly when I find him in a tree. But it's interesting to see what the drivers think. I mean, it's fun to say that Racing Podge has sort of jumped around a bit. He's gone from GP2 down to here, and he seems to fit in rather well here. I mean, he fitted in GP2 as well, but here he's doing just as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think Racing Podge is one of the guys that can improve and get into the GP2. I've had a chat with him, and he said that he's motivated to drive a lot more, and when he gets his pace up, we'll be here with open arms for him to join the higher division. Definitely
will be. Obviously, with my return to racing, everything was confirmed last week that I am returning to racing, actually with the Haas team. So funny that I'm on board with Psychomitsu Mercedes, and Haas actually kept me on their roster for a long time after I retired. I was actually driving the Haas pre-retirement as well, so they kept me there.
It's nice to get your old car back.
Yeah, well, my car's different now. My car used to have a
He
white
might
nose.
lost it.
Oh, has he? Where is he now? He's off. Is he off being Ericsson somewhere? He's invisible. Where is he? Over? There you are.
He's in the last sector, but he's...
Yeah, it's that
back in
right-hander
track now.
again, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think he'll be...
Is
back
that
in the
setup
pits
issue?
now.
Or is that his traction issue there?
It's a good question. I think he might be over on medium traction control, to be honest, so I think he's trying to figure that out, so that might be some of the problem. But yeah, I think he's looking a lot quicker than last time we saw him, for sure.
Definitely is. And I have one question for you. Where's Hegluf? Is he still in Leeds?
I think he is... in work and just didn't make it. Hopefully he'll make next week, or not next week, but the first race.
Yes,
But,
obviously we do have 1 week's break as the whole league does go into shutdown season 4 starting. God, that's odd to say. And season 4 is going to be a great one. We'll start with a stream on Tuesday that I'll be conducting with said conductor, which I haven't picked yet. Maybe it'll be my left foot. I'm not sure yet. That will be joining me on commentary. Then Wednesday, GP2 has. I don't think that's been decided who I've got on GP2. GP2, sorry, is Dobby and Alex who will be doing the stream, and then Premiere will be me and I can't remember who we said was on with me in Premiere.
Isn't it Primeval Rex?
Yeah, it'll be Rex, that's it. Yeah, Rex is doing multiple days as I am. So we're all going to be moving around quite a lot. But it's going to be nice and fun. I think it'll be a nice, fun atmosphere to keep us all in sync in SFR.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great next season, and it looks like we've got everything sorted with drivers, commentary, streaming. So yeah, I'm excited for the new season.
Yeah, everyone's excited. And obviously, I think you're a little bit more excited about tomorrow, aren't you? Or are you still bricking it?
Well, yeah, hopefully it will be a great race tomorrow. That's the most important part. And yeah, I'm not really too bothered about winning the league, to be honest. If it happens, I'll be very happy. But at the same time, if Lee wins, I'll be as happy for him. So, yeah.
Ooh, politically nice there. That's a very political answer from Hal. Oh, Pro Oliver's round! That Red Bull was locking up, but he has gone round, and luckily he's able to keep the car on track. He will have time to set another lap time, though, and I had a feeling something was going to go wrong for Oliver, but we can all hope.
Lost it again, but he's back on track.
I think, for a while, Alistair Senegal is retired in Sector 3. Is that terminal damage, or is that not? I think that's going to be just a normal retirement. Yeah, Collins as well.
He cut a corner, and I think he's back in the pits.
Alright, so Alco is just finishing off his lap. He will have time to go for another if he has enough ERS. I don't think he will, though. Crossing the line now, he's 4 seconds down on his previous time, is the Portuguese driver. Crossing the line is Ryan, and for Ryan, who is a debutant in this final pre-season test, to not be at the back, I don't know his history, I need to have a chat more with the GP3 drivers, but to not be at the back in qualifying is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Good to see him being up in the field. C. Pasley is going to come across the line at a great time and put himself up into P2, just 1/10 behind Primeval Rex.
But
not even.
Rex is, I think, he's on track, yeah, he's still on track, and he's going for it again. And he's just showing off at this point, isn't he? And Lee has just come in with, come in with a very non-political answer here, saying I'm going to leave Hal in the dust tomorrow. Is that where you take him out, Lou?
Well, if he can do it, I'll just...
He's Norwegian, it's impossible to insult him, he's too nice. So, what can Rex do? Currently sat in pole position here in France. Can he come through and set a lap that's even quicker than before? He's going wide at the final corner. I don't think that's invalidated. No, it has invalidated it, so he's out. But I think that no one could touch him, honestly, on this lap. That lap was just brilliant, wasn't it?
Alco on the final straight. No, he's in pits.
Psychomitch just coming up to the right-hander at the end of the Mistral Straight. Seesawing that steering wheel as he tries to get it through, and he has managed to. He's on the soft tyres, so this is not going to be a super duper lap, but if it can be an improvement of his last lap, he's going to be in a good position versus everyone else, though it is only a 25% race.
Yeah, but the tires are wearing out really quick here, and I see some of the drivers have done multiple laps on their tires, so it's going to be a huge advantage starting on the softs.
Alright, Psychomitch coming down. He's missed the cutoff to be on pole position. DRS open. He has improved on his time by a minuscule margin, which is enough to give him those soft tyres at the start of the Grand Prix. But Primeval Rex is our pole sitter here in France for the final pre-season test. And it's going to get really fun on the straight, isn't it?
Hopefully. Hoping we can get some overtakes, even though it's just 10 drivers, so yeah.
If it's any consolation, Primeval Rex is on pole position by 21 thousandths of a second. Racing Pods is in P3. C-Passy, is in P2. Racing Pods is in P3. Alpha Senegal is in P4. Alco is in P5. Pearl is in P6. Collins is in P7. And Ryan Van Doom is in P8. That's so funny. Psychomitch is in P9. And Oyma is in P10. If it's any consolation, the Jaguar I-Pace Trophy only has 12 drivers, and they had a great race in Mexico when they last raced.
Oh, yeah. And I have some intel for you, Mr. JB.
What is this, Mr. Formula E, JB? Yeah, go on.
I've heard something about the weather in the race right now.
Weather! I like that word.
So
I'm English, it's what we talk about.
We should be excited for the end of the race, if I can remember correctly.
Oh, that should be interesting. Well, right now, as Alson Senegal unfortunately has left us, hopefully he's able to rejoin quickly. Right now, we're just inspecting Paul Ricard's driver facilities at the top of the things. And look at that, just above the DHL logo on Lewis Hamilton's sign. Doesn't that look a bit like they've let the birds out?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Paul Ricard.
Oh. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if, because I think it is set to be some rain towards the end, so it's gonna be exciting to see what they do with the strategy here.
And we've not seen what the GP3 drivers can do in the wet, have we?
I don't think we have, no.
Alright, so onto the formation lap now. Drivers are away, and Primeval Rex leads us away for the first time on the GP3 pre-season test, the final pre-season test. And there you see, it's Primeval Rex in P1 ahead of C-Passy P2, Racing Pods in P3. Then it should be Alson Senegal in P4, but he's not here. So I don't think he's going to be able to get back into his car. Alco is in P5 and Pro Oliver is in P6. Collins is in P7 after making contact with Ryan Van Doom in that they should disappear in a second, and Ryan Van Doom is in P8. Psychomitch is in P9 and Oyma is in P10, but obviously they all move up one position due to the fact that Alco is no longer here. He's not dead, he just left the session. I know, I'm melodramatic. But I think this shows, I mean, when, oh god, Red Bull off in the background, the drivers aggressively warming up their tyres, maybe a little bit too aggressively on this game.
Yes.
Oh god, Pro Oliver's really not happy with his car, is he? Look at that, he's seesawing and we're on the formation lap.
I'm not on this car right now.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear.
What was that?
That was all I said. Oh, Oyma doing a good impression of it too. Sorry, no, that's Alco. Alco has been disqualified, Collins has been disqualified, and Victor Van Doom has been disqualified as well. Oops. The tyres aren't that sensitive. I know they're Pirelli, but they're not that sensitive.
Well, it's gonna be interesting to see how long the Ultrasoft can last, and if they last long enough.
Maybe that's why Psycho is on the soft tyres, because he knows the rain's coming. And this track in the wet, as we saw in the Formula 2 race in real life for Formula 1, was pretty horrendous, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but I did, because I have no life.
Yeah, and we have some rain here in GP2 as well when we were here this season, so yeah, it's horrible to drive in the wet.
I love the wet. And I have actually, in said other league I've joined, I'm now a touring car driver in that. So those cars in the wet is going to be even more fun. But we'll discuss that later because we're on to 5 red lights here in France at the final preseason test. The lights are out, the drivers are away now. No, now, come on, please. You're making me look like an idiot. There you go. So it's a good start from Primeval Rex in P1. He's moving over, but he's been mugged by Steve Pasley off the line. And you're going to look Racing Podge down the inside at T1. It hasn't happened. Racing Podge down into P4 now, and Primeval Rex back into P1. Racing Podge going even further now. The Swedish driver fighting with Collins in the Alfa Romeo at the back, but the Renault sliding back into P2. And Racing Podge almost rear-ending Alco in the McLaren. And then there's this big rear end there. I think there's desync in the lobby.
Might be.
Yeah, that's desync. Look at that. That's horrendous desync. And it's not their fault, it's the game's fault.
From who?
Connor and Victor Von Dijk. Yeah, that's decent. That's exactly what I had in Mexico in season 2, I think. Unless they're actually racing each other, I'm not sure. But Alston Senegal in the pits, obviously. Yeah, I think that's decent. Yeah. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We saw a post on the Facebook page about classic desync. That's major desync right there. So you see Alco trying to chuck it up the inside. Does he pass? Is he brave enough? No, not brave enough. Into the right-hander. And he's going to try here. I think, yeah, he's going to have a look for Primeval Rex covering off. Primeval Rex though going wide. That has opened up the position
lost it.
for Oimer, losing it in grid, in the race trim now, and he's going to be frustrated with himself.
Is there any damage on his front wing?
I don't know, to be honest, right now, but I'm having to look at the leaders. Right now, we've got to take Ryan and Collins' time, as Collins chucks it at the inside, darting, trying to fight Racing Podge. We've got to take...
going around the outside.
Where are we? Who's going around the outside? Where?
Racing Podge.
What happened there was Racing Podge got knocked out of line by Collins, but we can't take what we're seeing at full face value, because right now Collins and Ryan are racing at the same point of the track on their screens, and they cannot see each other.
Hopefully both of them can't see each other, and just... And
they shouldn't. Yeah, if it's desync like on the 2017 game, they can't see. Yeah, that's horrendous. Look at that, and it's not their fault. That's the thing. Sector 1, we have a yellow flag. Is that Oimer? Yeah, Oimer's off once more, cutting the course. But that is not their fault. That is the game's fault of putting them on the same wavelength. It's like when you have a radio, you put them on the same radio frequency and play them at the same time. You can hear yourself, you know.
Yes, I'm afraid I have to leave right now because I got a league race myself. So yeah,
abandonment.
It's been a pleasure.
GP3 is that bad? No, I'm kidding. Okay, off you go, mate. Maybe you leaving will sort out the desync.
Hopefully, and yeah, I'll talk to you later, and good luck with the rest of the race.
Alright, so I'm all by myself as Pro Oliver and Psycho Mitch come together. So Pro Oliver is in the wall now. Yeah, it has been a bug, as TJ Jones says last session, but it has been a bug since 2017. This desync, this horrendous desync here that we're seeing, is not either of these drivers' faults, and we will obviously not blame either of these guys. Look at that. Firstly, it's amazing the cars can get that high in this game. But yes, back in Mexico in season 2, I want to say, yeah, season 2 was when me and Chopper desynced. So if you want to go back and have a look at that video, I was part of that. But now you see Steve Pasley trying to bear down on Psycho Mitch, Primeval Rex trying to make a position known where he wants to go, but he cannot make one move yet. So Primeval Rex trying to defend as best he can. Pro Oliver is into the pit lane after breaking his front wing after making contact, I think, with either Psycho Mitch or losing it himself. This track, again, easy to be lost at, and Steve Pasley darting through, try and get past Primeval Rex. Now onto DRS straight. DRS has been enabled. Overtake is on Steve Pasley's car, and Oimer getting a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Now go around the outside, and Steve Pasley trying to, and Primeval Rex staying in the middle of the road, not able to let him through. And that is perfectly legal there. And what you want to do in that chicane is try and get round the outside. You just cannot make a move on the inside. They can't make it work. Primeval Rex going defensive into the right-hander. That is going to make him offline. There are yellow flags here. I'm not sure why the yellow flags are here. Back to green, though. Maybe that's debris on track. But the SFR GP3 series is in full swing here. We can see, oh dear, Primeval Rex has about a lag on his car. Hopefully that isn't affecting Steve Pasley too badly. But now you see the run that Pasley has got on him. He's going to try and go round his outside somewhere in this section. And it hasn't happened. Alco getting a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. And now Steve Pasley pushing his accelerator straight through, aiming to get a home win for Renault in the first pre-season test, maybe then duplicate it back in the actual league race. Primo Rex just, I think that was a little bit of lag, and Collins and Alco pit for early pit stops. And now, you see, right down the inside is going to go Supaz. He's going to try and chuck it up the inside. He has made it work so far, but he hasn't made it stick. And it seems that Primo Rex just is defending too well for him at this point in time. So Steve Pasley is again on the back of the Toro Rosso DRS Open, wanting to take the Italian team down, so the French team can be back in the lead of their home Grand Prix. Though it is only pre-season testing, no accolades or points will be awarded for this, but you can always say who won the pre-season testing and see who's going to do well come the start of the season. Going to drop down now to Racing Podge. DRS opening on... No, not DRS opening, sorry. Pushing hard now is Racing Podge, and Ryan Von Doom is... He's offline there. He's almost hit the marbles there, and down the inside goes the Swedish driver. He has made a move, kissing the Haas's tyres. He's kissed his Haas, and there he is through. But he's going to hold it around the outside, and he has held it around the outside. So now the Haas can look at his Haas. The puns are back, folks. Didn't you expect this for a week? So now Ryan is going to be back on the attack, and Steve Pasley once more is going to have another round of trying to attack him. No, he's not. He's going for the undercut strategy into the pit lane here. And now, who else? Does anyone else pit this lap? Yes, Ryan, who gets a 5-second stop and go penalty, does get a speeding offence as he pulls into pit lane. So now Sykovic, his teammate promoted up to P3 from 7th on the grid, is having a good time right there. Remind every driver who will watch this stream back, because normally most drivers do, just do not GP3 engine, says T. Jonas, who's just left us. Yeah, that's a smart comment there. They all have GP3 engines. We've managed to get hold of Formula 1 bodies, but I couldn't afford a GP2 or a Premier Division engine, so I shoved in a little thing. As Oima retires in, I think that's in the pit lane by the looks of it. We can try and find it. Alco on the attack now. The other McLaren on the attack of Victor Von Doom, and he is through. Ryan Von Doom, Van Doom, and he has made the move stick, and Van Doom is unable to defend, but the Doom will have DRS again. He's pushing hard. He is going to have the best moment to try and pass Alco. Alco on new tyres, and Ryan on newer tyres. Remember, they mentioned as we go towards half distance in this race, they mentioned the possibility of rain here. Oh no, Oima, says Steve Johns with a little crying emoji. Oh, yeah, we all love Oima, and he can only improve, and that's the best thing about him. He is going to keep trying and trying and trying until he gets it, and we will all love it. The Oima fan club has already begun its only pre-season testing here in SFR GP3. So pushing hard is Ryan, and he's wanting to improve on his position. Primo Rex is into pit lane now. The race leader back into the pits with the new super soft tyres. I have to remember different tyre compounds because in GT Sport they changed it. So they different colours. Now Racing Podge is now our leader in the Ferrari. It's very, very disconcerting to see GT Sport's different tyres versus these ones. So I've got to try and learn it. Now you see Collins on the side. He's just come out. Primo Rex just ahead of him. So Steve Pasley has jumped Primo Rex in the pits. So Alex is down into net P2 as Sykovic and Racing Podge have yet to stop. But now Collins is going to try and make it a net P3 in his Alfa Romeo. He's going to flick open his DRS when he gets to this straight. And he's going to try his absolute hardest to get up there. DRS opening now. And the Alfa Romeo Italian power is going to try and get past the the Japanese power of the Honda engine in the back of that Toro Rosso down the inside. It hasn't happened. That's an aggressive move from Collins. And probably Rex lagging around a little bit. That is unfortunate for Rex. Hopefully his internet stabilizes for the race. It was absolutely fine at the start of the Grand Prix. That's the thing. It's just bouncing a little bit throughout. Now Collins is pushing hard to get past him. He wants to make the move. He has not managed to as of yet. Alfa Romeo on the back of the Toro Rosso, slicing through the competitive air as Racing Podge pulls into pit lane. We'll have a look at what the Ferrari mechanics are going to do. They're going to stick on the super soft tyres. So he might be thinking there is no rain that's going to actually affect us. And Psychomich into the lead of the Grand Prix. There's a Ferrari coming slowly down the pit lane, just up behind the table. And he's going to see Pasby, the fastest man on track in P2. And he's pulling away from Primeval Rex, who has got a 2-second gap behind him. Had to wait for the graphic to change, and Collins right on the back of Primeval Rex, cutting the corner there. He's going to get a warning there, going to get a warning there, and there's the penalty. Racing Podge slicing through, trying to get past after pitting. He's going to have asked Ryan. Sorry, Primeval Rex getting a time penalty, but Ryan will most definitely have a warning for that incident where he has clipped himself off track a little bit. Ryan, whose tyres seem to be 2 laps old, maybe he's trying to get above the temperature, maybe he's thinking because clouds, as we come onto the Mistral Straight, the clouds are getting much darker here in France. I think we're at the southern France, Paul Ricard. I cannot remember for the life of me. They're not in the northern France because that's close to the Spa. No DRS on this little straight. There arguably should be, but with the entry speed coming to the corner, they have to take the assumption, and they have not done it. But now coming through, almost flat corner, flat if you have the right setup on. South of France, yeah, I thought so. It's more towards Monaco, isn't it? But Ryan is coming under pressure from the Ferrari. The Ferrari once again having to pass him. He's having his eyes on stalks, just trying to get that right moment. And Ryan seems to be a little bit wary on track, but once again, this is what GP3 is all about. Psychomich pulls into pit lane. The other Haas is going to be pitting, and C. Pasley is now our race leader here in the final pre-season test of GP3. But it's all about improvement. GP3 improvement, that is our mantra. The drivers must improve through this division to learn, and that's all we want to do, is have them improve and have a safe space to improve and work, where they won't be berated for doing that, getting time penalties, or for making silly moves. It's all about learning. So Ryan defensively, breaking into corners by the looks of it. So he's breaking throughout the entirety of the corner and then trying to get the power on mid corner, and it's affecting him. Yeah, look at that. That Haas is not happy. So down the inside is going Racing Podge back into the lead, back into 5th place ahead of Ryan Von Doom. Close to Marcel. Oh, you've been on Google. Down the inside goes Alco on the McLaren. Defending Alco versus. There has been another move. It seems that Victor has made a move on Ryan making a move on Racing Podge. Round the outside goes the Alfa Romeo. There's contact. The Alfa Romeo is off. Is that car dead? That car is not dead, but that contact was severe. What happened there? Maybe a little wiggle from Alco that has affected Collins' race, and he has been shafted all the way down. Such a big impact, and now Racing Podge is back on the back of Victor. Brian Von Doom, this is going to get really annoying. Down the inside goes Racing Podge. Alco's normally in the McLaren for me, in the Ferrari for me. And now he's going to get the switchback, and Racing Podge is running up the line, and it looks like Rain is almost in the air. We're going to go on board with Ryan now. And Racing Podge has made the move stick this time, and now Ryan's got to get through. But there is going to be rain coming. It is very dark here in France, and I think that we're going to have a bout of rain. Just waiting for that one little clip as the weather transitions that we can see. Psychomich on the back of Collins. Collins' tyres must be suffering, as the other Haas is going to chuck it up the inside, aggressively chucking it up the inside for the GP3 Haas. Yeah, Podge does seem to have a good battle every race, especially now with the new boy showing that Ryan Von Doom can battle his way through. And Ryan, that is just the coolest name on the planet. I've got to just say, that is the coolest name on the planet. And Collins under pressure. Collins, after contact with Alco in the McLaren, is now under pressure, and he has made the move stick. Is Psychomich. These two raced each other eternally there, and unfortunately Psychomich getting a time penalty. Really, he should hand that back, I think, judging by the fact that he got a time penalty by cutting the corner. But it was a move nonetheless. Yellow flags here in this section of the corners as they're going through. Yellow flags back to green now, and the drivers are going to have to keep pushing on as the race continues on. The rain still is not hitting here in France. On board with the Renault that is leading their home event. Can Pasty give Renault glory in a pre-season test, or are they going to give him glory again later on in the season? We know Pasty, the Irishman, is a tough driver. Racing Porsche is the fastest man on track, though. It's been so interesting. I'm so excited for GP3. I honestly have not been more excited. I'm more excited for GP3 than I am my own racing. That says something about how much I love this series. I really do. And that's not like, hey, I'm a pundit, I love it, I love like this series. No, I genuinely love GP3. It's so fun to commentate on. The drivers are so lovely. Now you see Collins on the back of Psycho Mitch. He's gonna start pressuring Psycho, and he knows how to battle him. These two have had countless battles for like X number of years. There it is, the rain has finally hit in France, and it hit Collins at the wrong corner, and the rain will start to come down. If you look on the monopod of the car and along the halo, see the rain streaks. And my headset is just saying that the battery's low. Give me a moment while I plug it back in. The Collins now looming up with the behind Psychomix under the net. I can't change the camera right now. I do apologise. I'm trying to force my cable in. There we go. Change stabilising. There we go. So my headset's back on charge. Do apologise for that if the microphone got suddenly a bit tilly. But here in the wet, this is going to get very difficult here, and you see a little bit of oversteer from Collins as he has to correct as the car slides through. The dreaded flash. Yes, that is the new name of it. But it's still a less dreaded flash than when I kept I took my trousers off the other day in the shopping centre. Shh, you didn't hear it. Now you see the big difference there is in the wet tyres, and I think Ryan may be in the best possible solution as he is on the tyres that work the best in the wet. But we only have 3 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. So, the drivers have to debate whether they spend time in the pit lane if the rain comes down hard enough to pit, or if they put in, if they decide to go for the dreaded slick tyres on a wet track setup, which will cost them time. Now, this harks me back to when I was doing my marshalling training last weekend, I think it was, or the weekend before. I think it was last weekend. No, the weekend before, 2 weekends ago, I was doing the marshalling training at Silverstone, and that encompasses showing us a video of what happens in the crashes, so we can identify what went wrong. If you want to see, I will DM it to you if you want to know. But Alco losing a position to Racing Podge. Racing Podge is now going to hold it around the outside set in France. The Red Bull is gone, and look at that, Racing Podge just getting ahead of Alco. Oh, big slide for the Ferrari and the McLaren, but Alco managing to save it, and same with Racing Podge. But if you want to see the video, I will be sending it through to many different people. Actually, I'll stick it in the chat if you want to know what video I'm talking about at the end of this Grand Prix. And then Alco going around, so that's showing that this track is ready for intermediate tyres. And who pits? DRS has been disabled. Who is pitting? Does Pasty? Pasty decides not to. Primo Rex decides not to. They're on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. What's Racing Podge going to do? He decides not to as well. They know that this is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. And Ryan, down the inside, big contact. The Haas is round. Where's that McLaren? The McLaren is still going on strong. And that was just a dive bomb down the inside. Pro Oliver has left the session after totaling his Red Bull. Alco is into the pit lane for intermediate tyres. McLaren pushing hard as they hope to get maybe somewhere with the intermediate tyres. Maybe the lower half of the field will pit. We know Psychomich is in the pit lane. What is Collins going to do? Collins spinning across, and he is deciding to pit as well. So drivers deciding not to pit. Ryan is one of them who is staying out on his soft tyres, and he's only one spin away from the top 3 to have a podium spot on his debut here in SFR. So look at that. Fingertips for Pasty as he's trying to get his Renault, muscling his Renault through. Race ruins, says Harley. Alco can still get a podium. Yeah, they can all still get podiums. And that's why Primo Rex is round in the chicane on the Mistral Straight. And he's now, same with Racing Podge. Racing Podge round as well. Synchronized spinning for the Italian teams. Now, I would like to say that I orchestrated that, but I didn't. Because I'm nice. But yes, the race has... Well, look at that. Ryan struggling, a 5-second stop and go penalty for corner cutting, I mean, that's totally justified the amount of corner he took there, but at the same time, he is struggling. Look at the difference here. Look at that. Alco able to take this corner, no questions asked. And right at the end of the Grand Prix, we're looking at Steve Pasley, fingertips for the Renault. He is wanting this victory in preseason testing, so he's on the highest momentum coming into the end of the season, to the start of the season, sorry, of season 4. And Steve Pasley does not pit. Collins is gone in sector 2, and if that's where I think it is, he's gone a few times there. Collins, if you are listening, was that where it happened? Was it the same place as said other race that we've raced in around this track when it was wet? But Steve Pasley sliding through sector 2 and 3. Who is that? Is that Ryan? That's Ryan. The Haas is not built for the wet, and it's even too wet for those harder compound tyres to work. Sector 2, we have a yellow flag. Who is that? Is that Alco or is it Psycho? No, it's no one. It might have been... it's Primal Rex. Primal Rex is round the pole sitter. Round, and he's into the barrier. He's lost the position to Racing Podge. What can Racing Podge do? Now Alco right on the back of Ryan Von Doom. Gone on to the lead. Oh, okay. Collins down here at the outside goes Alco. And he's not a million miles away from a podium on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Ryan getting a 5-second stop and go penalty. Sorry, a 3-second time penalty for not being able to stop the car. And that's perfectly justified. They see Primal Rex is just crawling right now. The rain affecting all of the drivers in different ways. See Racing Porsche, a little bit of oversteer here. A little bit, and there's Steve Pasley round the the home team is struggling as he needs to get that car back facing the right direction. I'm fully rooting for Renault at this point because I want him to win the home Grand Prix for that team. But the Ferrari is bearing down. The Ferrari wants to make the move sometime this lap. But what can Steve Pasley do? He's controlled this race for a long time after he jumped Primal Rex in the pit lane. Primal Rex, on the other hand, is off the track. And it shows that Alco is on the podium once more, if he can hold it down. And I think Alco's got the right idea. See Pasley now, 7 seconds between him and Racing Podge in the background. Pasley just trying to get it all turned in, trying to relax that Renault after that spin. Not want to put any more stress on that car whatsoever. Racing Podge is sliding, he's drifting that. Watch his Tokyo drift once, and suddenly he's drifting. And there's Alco bearing down on the Ferrari. But Steve Pasley, the Renault team, are going to have glory in the final pre-season test. Powering on the straight now, trying to get it all straightened up. DRS won't be open. He's weaving. He has caught the car. He's back over the line. He wins in France. Racing Podge in second. And Alco is going to be home in third. And unfortunately, the pole sitter is going to be round in the final lap, making contact with Ryan Von Doom, and that's going to promote Psychomich to hopefully up into P4 after contact, and Primal Rex off. And it was a brave strategy call from the top 3 to have gone on and tried on the wet tyres, top 4, sorry, to try and stay on the slip tyres, but that's unfortunately what's happened. Primal Rex unfortunately getting caught up, but Steve Pasley tonight is our winner in the final pre-season test here in GP3. So Renault on top here in France. Maybe we'll see that in the league this year. Maybe we'll see it in the league coming in GP3, maybe GP2 and Prem. Who knows? Imagine if all 3 of the teams won at once. There you see McLaren and Ferrari, 3 historic teams in Formula 1 on the top. Cyril Abiteboul there, and the Renault team velocity there. There we go. Hands in the air. Steve Pasley is our final winner in the SFR pre-season tests. And this concludes the SFR season. And look at that, all of them with penalties. But Steve Pasley in P1 ahead of Racing Podge in P2 and Alco in P3. Psychomich in P4 and Primal Rex unfortunately down in P5. Von Doom is in P6, though with penalties he dropped down 2 positions, and Collins unfortunately DNF'd. So Oliver and Oima, who unfortunately were not able to finish the Grand Prix. But this now stops us for Ryan saying that he wishes the race had been finished by 3 laps. 3 laps less. But that now concludes our pre-season testing, and I hope you all have a good idea of what the GP3 division can in turn and can show off come, I think it is the 15th of March, I've got to check. for all the people, I think a special accommodation goes to those folks who stayed with it as the 19th of March. So, yeah, it's the 19th of March. 15th of March is a Friday. But the 19th of March is when we will see these guys once more in Australia. We will just show it off because in Australia is where we will see the GP3 division next time out. And I'm very excited. Are you guys excited? Yeah, 19th of March, Lee's saying, because he knows more about this than I do. But I'm incredibly excited to see what GP3 can bring. So, I will not be seeing you next Tuesday as we are on the week's break for SFR. All divisions in shutdown before the announcement for Season 4 to restart on the 19th through to the 21st of March. My name is JB. I was joined by Hal halfway through the session, but he had to leave because he had to go and race in his own race because he thinks he's better than me because he raced in multiple places. But so do I. I'm better than him. I will beat him this season. Shh, I didn't say that. Join us tomorrow for the GP2 finale in Abu Dhabi to see who will come out on top. Is it going to be Lee Nell or is it going to be T. Jonas? Who knows? There's a 1 point gap between them, and I urge all of you to come and watch that race. It's going to be so entertaining to watch these guys battle out in Abu Dhabi, and then we'll see the Premier Division. After Nikos was announced as champion in the Premier Division, we see them all go into Abu Dhabi for one last race before Season 3 draws close. So thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time. Ta-ra, guys.